And then it turned off.
Nope.
Yo!
I got that on camera. I got that on
Yo!
camera. I got that on camera.
Worst thing was, Feds just went that way. You know what? Feds.
By this person who he thought was a woman. In 2023, this 26-year-old Indonesian man named AK met Adinda Kansa on Instagram, where they hit it off and eventually met in person and started a relationship. Throughout their relationship, Adinda wore a hijab that covered her head, her face, except for her eyes because of her religion. A year later, they got married and had a very small ceremony with only AK's family attending, and Adinda's family was not there because she said that her entire family had passed away. After they tied the knot, AK became extremely suspicious of his new wife because she constantly avoided any intimacy and was always making excuses. But also, AK said that Adinda was wearing her hijab at home at all times, so at this point he knew that she was hiding something. He then began searching for any information he could find on his wife, and that's when he found her old address, and when he went to go visit that home, he found her parents, which she said were dead. The parents told AK that Adinda is actually a man, and they had no idea that they got married. Adinda was arrested, and after an investigation was done, it was determined that he intended to marry AK so that he can steal his family's assets. Adinda was charged with fraud, and if convicted, he faces up to 4 years in prison.
Whatever you
guys think that should be the fate for all catfishes out there, man? Because that's basically what it was. We're gonna call a spade for a spade. That was a catfish. Like, how the hell, but how did he let it go that far, man? He got married to him and he didn't even know? That's mind blowing, man. If you're going out with somebody, man, you gotta do your research nowadays. That's crazy.
do never go searching for this video. These 5 friends were forced to kill each other by the Mexican cartel. These 5 young, aged from 19 to 22, were looking for some sort of employment, and they were promised a high-paying job at a call center. But when the alleged contact was taking them to meet the people for the job, it actually turned out to be a whole scheme to recruit them to the Mexican cartel. And when all 5 of these boys said they didn't want to join, the cartel then said okay and tied them up, taped their mouth and took a picture, and then recorded one of the friends killing all the other 4 friends. And after that, they put the 5th one, who just killed all of his friends, into a car and set it on fire. I am telling you right now, do not go searching for this video because you will find it. And trust me, you do not want to see something like this. This case is absolutely horrific, and the fact that this happens way more often than we think is just extremely scary and disturbing. It's just sad that these young men were just trying to get a job and make some money for themselves. But instead, it turned into a living nightmare. Rest in peace, these 5 young men.
Here's one more reason to be terrified of the ocean. Of course, it's scary when the sea is stormy, but according to Japanese legend, you should be more afraid of calm waters. Because that is when the umibozu is said to rise from the deep. This ghostly pitch black figure will not only scare you into a state of shock, but it will then throw you overboard and drown you in the sea.
It is criminal that no one knows what this guy is doing right now. A man is attempting to become the first person ever to walk the entire length of the United States barefoot. He started his over 5,000 kilometer walk in February, and as you'd imagine, his feet have already taken an absolute battering. He's already had to walk through snow, which he says was so cold that it makes every pebble feel like you're walking over a Lego brick. But if the cold wasn't bad enough, he will soon have to walk through the Midwestern summer heat, which will easily reach temperatures of over 100 degrees. And because of that, similar to Russ Cook running through the Sahara, he says that he's going to have to walk overnight because during the day, the paving will just be too hot. He's almost been hit multiple times by massive semi-trucks not paying attention and pushing him off the road. The nerve endings on his feet are so bruised from stepping on rocks that it keeps him up at night. He's had really bad infections that haven't had enough time to heal, because if he does take days off and doesn't make it to New York before the winter, he is screwed. And the part which just blows my mind, he's doing all of this to raise awareness for men's mental health. Despite this amazing cause and what he's putting himself through, he has only 139 followers on TikTok and only 412 on YouTube. I mean, that should be illegal. He's got about 6 months of walking left to do. So please, let's show this man some support and push him through.
That's crazy, man. He's doing that for a good cause, and hopefully, man, just catches some fire, catches some heat, so more people are aware of that. Barefoot, too? That's a different type of breed right there, man.
Have you heard the creepy story behind this photo?
What?
She's been named the Expressionless. Well, the story takes place in June of 1972. Hospital employees were very shocked and scared when this woman entered the hospital wearing a blood-soaked gown. What was terrifying is that she had no emotion on her face. When the doctors went to sedate her to see what was wrong, she started to fight back. This is her in that very moment. Now, this is a creepypasta, but some believe that this photo is actually true and that this is a real creepy-ass woman. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Photos from his...
This is a real sign in a city called Davao in the Philippines, and there's a lot of history behind it. Now, as you can see in the sign, it says, "Waving children, please wave back," with a pair of children with their arms up. This sign serves as a warning to everyone passing by that there are ghosts of children in the area. It's believed there's a ton of supernatural activity all around the area, and if you don't wave back, these children will come and haunt you. Upon researching the story, I haven't found anyone reporting that they haven't waved back to any of the children. I've only heard accounts of people waving back and then being okay afterwards. So with that information in my head, I can only assume the worst happens if you don't wave back. So obviously, if you're traveling in the Philippines and you see a child wave to you, wave back for your own safety. The last thing you want is a ghost child following you and haunting you for the rest of your life. Let me know what you guys think about this. I also covered a video on the Aswang, which is another Filipino urban legend. Very scary stuff. Definitely go check that out. And if you have any suggestions, let me know.
You guys waving back, man? I wouldn't want no ghosts, no spirits, bad energy, juju following me, so I'll have to wave back. I don't need that following me around.
This is a true horrifying story, part 32. In parts 25, 26, and 27, I warned you all about the most dangerous book that was ever written, Shams al-Ma'arif. This book is a portal to the world of jinns and demons. There's a person that read this book, and this person faces traumatic incidents every single day. She's a woman from Jordan. She graduated university being the top-graded student. She is a genius. She has read hundreds of novels. She had a strong passion for books. She heard about this book called Shams al-Ma'arif. She couldn't live knowing that there's a book that has a strong story behind it without reading it. After many months of trying to find the real copy of this book, she heard about an old man that lives in Jordan that had an ancient copy of Shams al-Ma'arif. She got in touch with him, and he refused to sell the book, but she didn't quit. It took her many weeks to finally buy the book off of him. She goes back home and immediately starts reading the book. After she read the first few chapters of the book, she felt kind of hungry, so she decided to go to the kitchen and prepare some food and then continue reading. As she goes into the kitchen, she opens the oven and a gale of fire burns her face. She spent 3 weeks in the burn unit rehabilitation. The oven was switched off. No one knows till this day where the flames came from. She had multiple plastic surgeries to recover her facial features, but till this day, her face is not what it used to be. After recovery, she goes home weeks later and she looks for the book, knowing that the jinn was the reason she was harmed. She tried to find the book for many days, but it was lost. Years go by. She was home watching TV one day. She came across an Islamic channel that had a live interview program. An old man was being interviewed on this channel. He was asked by the imams about the dangers of a black magic book that he owns. His body was very unusual and his face was burned off. He got a book from under the table and he said this: "I once sold this book to a young woman a long time ago, and the demons warned me not to stop my rituals, and if I gave the book away, they would burn my face and they would burn hers. And after I gave the book, I woke up the next day without my normal face. And the book I sold to that woman was right there, laying next to me on bed. I knew that it was the jinns that brought the book back to me. And this is when I strengthened my iman and I quit black magic." Quote, this was all said on TV, and the poor girl was just standing there, watching the same man speak. The man on TV was the man that gave her the book. The book he showed on TV was the book he handed to her. That was the book that was lost. The book that she was looking for.
Damn, it sounded like she got tempted by that knowledge. She just couldn't turn it down. Look what happened. Like some bad spirits was following her. Like the book, the part I'm trying to figure out is how the book, like, it just went back to the man's house. Did he take it back, or was it just there the next day? That's something to think about.
This is Tragedy by the Sea, one of the most disturbing and sad photos of all time. Okay, so first glance at this photo, you just think it's a couple arguing at the beach, right? But believe it or not, this photo might have the most unsettling and disturbing backstory ever. On the morning of April 2nd, 1954, Los Angeles Times photographer named John Gaunt, who was pictured in the middle of this photo, was relaxing on his front yard of his beachfront house when he heard a neighbor shout, "Something's happening on the beach." He then instinctively grabbed his camera and rushed over to see the horrified couple clutching each other on the beach. On the shore stood a young couple named Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, and their body language made John's stomach turn. He realized that someone must be lost, and he then took a photograph from 200 yards away. Only then did he learn that just moments before, the couple's 19-month-old son Michael, who had been playing in the yard, had wandered down to the beach and crawled into the violent waters while they weren't looking. Despite the back and forth efforts by the parents, there was nothing they can do but just wait. Unfortunately, later that day, the child's dead body was washed up about a mile away on the beach. And this photo, titled "Tragedy by the Sea," appeared on the front page of the Times the very next day. John Gaunt then won the 1955 Pulitzer Prize Award, calling the photo poignant and profoundly moving. But he also received heavy criticism for capitalizing on the family's tragedy for his photo opportunity. But now, take a look at this photo, knowing everything you do, and tell me it's not one of the saddest and most disturbing photos ever.
Let's talk about this picture. Captured in 2008 by Daniel Young, this is one of the only pieces of evidence that this encounter actually happened. So Daniel was a custodian at Myrtle Elementary School, where he worked the night shift. It's a pretty routine night. He's just listening to music when he's suddenly interrupted by the sound of a woman's laughter. He turned around and was terrified when he saw an unknown woman smiling from behind the corner. This was a locked school on after hours, so clearly she was an adult who broke in, so he tried to snap a picture to identify her and then chases after her. But when he turned the corner, she had already darted out of an emergency exit. Later that night, police are called to a home where they arrive at a tragedy. An unknown woman had broken into a nearby home where she knifed two parents, one who was the principal of this school, so brutally they were unrecognizable. One of the daughters who witnessed this woman before she got away described her as this person. Could this photo be of the same unknown woman? And what her connection is to the school and the principal, we don't know.
Most disturbing videos in the world, episode 6. This picture contains a list of disturbing videos from the least scary to the most. This will be my scariest series ever. Welcome to tier 7 because we skipped a couple of them. And honestly today, we're gonna skip directly to tier 10. The first video is titled Funky Town. This video single-handedly could be the worst video the internet has ever had. Now obviously I can't show the video here, but I can tell you everything you need to know about it. And please remember, don't look this up, trust me. It shows a man, getting executed, in which they remove the man's face all while he's still alive. And lots of other stuff start happening, and in the background of the video, the song Funky Town starts playing. You know this song? Yeah, that one. Make sure to like and follow because I start my brand new series tomorrow.
Those videos, man, where they always have to break it down and explain. It's always chilling, man, and I take them at their word. I never looked it up because I don't need that in my mind, but the way they break it down with the details, especially about Sebastian on Tank 22, we know, man. Crazy how people can even do that to another human being. Edit, man. You guys, I want to see y'all guys call out the edits, man, down below as well. If y'all guys can spot them out, because I might miss some too. Y'all can correct me, man. We all the community, yo. So.
This is the disturbing moment. This woman laughed in court after she took this 3-year-old's life in a random attack. On June 3rd, police received numerous phone calls about a stabbing at a grocery store parking lot in Ohio. At around 3 p.m. on this day, 38-year-old Margot Wood was loading groceries into her car while her 3-year-old son, Julian, sat in his car seat. That's when 32-year-old Bianca Ellis entered the car and began stabbing the little boy. When Margot noticed, she tried to stop the attacker, and as a result, she was also wounded. Julian was then rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately passed away. Now, what's disturbing was that this was a random attack, and after looking at surveillance footage, the attacker was seen following the mother and the child in and out of the grocery store. Then, when Bianca was brought into court, the judge began reading out the indictment, and she was seen smiling and laughing the entire time. And after an assessment was done on Bianca, there arguing that she has bipolar disorder and had a psychotic break, which explains why she did what she did. And this story only gets crazier. Before this incident, Bianca confessed to another murder in Bakersfield, and she even gave details of what she did with this person's body. She also warned officers that if she wasn't arrested, she was going to murder someone and eat their flesh. But none of this was taken too serious, and she was released from the mental institution, and not long after, she committed this heinous crime.
So, let's talk about the most disturbing animated film ever made that has been banned all over the world. 1992's Midori. Our main character is 12-year-old Midori. After her mother becomes extremely ill, she is tricked into joining a traveling circus. And these are some of the fine people that she is surrounded by every day. The film contains a lot of very explicit scenes of violence and other things towards young Midori. The film is also known for its animal content. When it was originally released, Midori was banned all over the world, including in its own home country of Japan. And I can definitely see why. I'm not kidding when I say this is probably the most graphic, strange, animated film that has probably ever been made. And this is most certainly not a film for a lot of people. It's a film I really don't feel like I can recommend, but there are lots of very interesting discussions around the morality of this film. And if you've seen this film, I'd love to know what you guys think of it.
Hell no, I didn't even know that film existed. It really was banned all around the world.
The man you just saw walking in that video was pedophile Jeffrey Doucette. Jeffrey was a 25-year-old karate instructor. Jeffrey gave karate lessons to young boys, and it's assumed that he did this to gain access to children because he was a pedophile. Now, at some point along the way, Jeffrey met the son of a man named Gary Plauché. Gary was a very protective father who loved his son dearly. And when Gary eventually found out that Jeffrey had been molesting his son for over a year, he was righteously angry. But Gary just wasn't going to let this slide. You see, for a year, Gary had trusted Jeffrey to take care of his son and teach him karate. But at one point, Jeffrey had abducted his son, taken him to a motel in Anaheim, California, and did absolutely unspeakable things to him. So that leads us to the infamous televised incident. On that day, Jeffrey was flown to Louisiana to face trial. There was a news team there waiting for him at the airport for when he arrived into the state, but there was somebody else waiting for Jeffrey there as well, Gary Plauché. I can't show you the full clip, obviously, but Gary was waiting for Jeffrey to walk down the hallway, and when he walked by him, he pulled out a handgun and shot Jeffrey, the man who molested his son, directly in the head. Afterwards, Gary gave himself up, dropped the gun, and he was initially charged with second-degree murder. But he entered a plea bargain and pled no contest to the manslaughter charges. He was then sentenced to 7 years of a suspended sentence, with 5 years of probation and 300 hours of community service, meaning that Gary spent no extended time in prison for the murder of the pedophile. To this day, people still sell merchandise with Gary Plauché all over it, as he has become a folk hero of sorts to people that hate pedophiles. If you want to hear more stories like this, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available to listen to now on all streaming platforms.
The more you know, I never knew they sell merch about that incident. Guess he was a hero in some people's eyes, man, because you know we don't condone that over here, but that's an insane story.
The person you just saw in that video was former elected official and pedophile Stacey Marie Lofton. Stacey was the first openly transgender person elected to a state legislature anywhere in the United States. And people at the time in New Hampshire who elected Stacey thought that this was extremely radical. They were proud that they were inclusive and that they were giving power to an underrepresented population. However, Stacey would go on to do some terrible things. Because you see, in 2023, Stacey would be arrested and charged with possession of CP or CSAM. I still don't know the exact connection, but Stacey was arrested as well as this woman, a 38-year-old woman named Lindsay Groves. Now, Lindsay worked at a place called Creative Minds Early Learning Center in Massachusetts, where she worked closely with children. And apparently, Lindsay would use the bathroom breaks during the children's school day to take photographs of them. Photographs of them in compromising positions with no clothing on. Lindsay would then send these photos to the person she was in a relationship with, and I guess somehow some of those photos ended up in Stacey's possession. Now, I don't know what happened to Stacey after all of this, but I do know that it was reported that Stacey went to a prison for men. And yeah, this is just some really disturbing stuff. If you want to listen to more true crime stories, listen to the podcast that I co-host with my wife Courtney, Murder in America. It's available now on all streaming platforms.
It's always people in those positions, man. Power.
Number 10 is Saddam Hussein. We all remember Saddam. Number 9, Kim Jong-il, who is the uncle and the former leader of Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and he was even worse than Kim Jong-un. Like, even though Kim Jong-un is bad, like we got a step up from Kim Jong-il. I remember reading that he once fed his family to dogs. Number 8 is Genghis Khan, the guy, you know, the Mongolia Chinese wall, the Great Wall of China, forced everybody to do that.
Ooh.
Number 7, Heinrich Himmler, one of the right-hand men in the Nazi Party, was just all around evil. Number 6, Pol Pot, terrible man, maybe was one of the most ruthless killers in history. Number 5, Mao Zedong, the terrible emperor of China. Number 4, Osama bin Laden, the fool who committed 9/11 and went in hiding, and then we all forgot about him until Obama was like, we're actually going to go get him now, and I was like, thank God. Number 3, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler is the basis for the character of Dracula. His middle name was Dragula, and he was known for impaling his victims on sticks and posing them in front of the castle. Number 2, Joseph Stalin, who was the leader of Russia during World War II, and he was basically one of the most ruthless killers as well. He had concentration camps for the Russians that didn't support him, and millions of people died under him. If you like this list and want more lists about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment with the most evil person in history in your book. Also follow my Instagram and fiance Samantha, who I've tagged. Number 1, I can't even say his name on TikTok, but we all know who it is. Evil Austrian mustache man.
Think twice before you answer the door on Halloween night. On Halloween night in 1984, a pregnant mom named Doreen Herbert heard the doorbell ring. She opened the door to find someone in a wolf mask holding a machete. This was like a scene straight out of a horror movie, and she was viciously slaughtered in front of her 4-year-old daughter. Special attention had been made to harm the fetus as well, and it was found under this chair. Luckily, when the attack started, her daughter hid behind the couch, and then the man in the wolf mask paced around the house looking for her. The man in the mask shouted that if she said anything, he was going to come back and kill her too. Crime scene investigators noticed a trail of blood leading from the house down the sidewalk and across the freeway to a nearby neighborhood. This attack happened shortly after her husband left to go to the store, and he came home just a few minutes after she died. But luckily, officers did their due diligence. Looking into Doreen's past, they found out she had a tumultuous marriage with her ex-husband, Michael Dennis. And they actually had a child that drowned under Doreen's supervision in 1980. 2 years later, this distraught ex sued Doreen for the death of their child, but lost in court. And just hours after the murder, the police paid a visit to Michael Dennis. He was calm and collected and gave consent to search, but as he reached out to sign the form, they noticed a gash on his hand. He said he got this injury from carving pumpkins the day before, but they noticed that the blood was still clotting. He began to walk detectives up towards his bedroom and lunged towards the bed. And they were luckily able to tackle him before he grabbed his revolver. And also inside the house, they found blood near the washing machine, and blood was all over his car door handle and steering wheel.
Caught him.
His past girlfriend also said that the previous Halloween, he went to a party wearing a wolf mask, pictured here. Michael Dennis was charged for the death of Doreen and her unborn child. And due to the brutality, he was actually given the death penalty. Michael Dennis had never moved on and hated Doreen for finding love and having another. And I have to say, if you've lost a child, Halloween is probably a really difficult day to look outside and see kids running around everywhere. But that does not excuse his actions. Let me know what case you want me to cover next and follow for more true crime.
It is wild. This is actually happening. Celebrities are now losing thousands of followers in an unprecedented TikTok trend where people are deliberately blocking the rich and famous so that they lose their sponsorships, their brand deals, and ultimately money. And you know what? It's working. So here's how the blockout trend started, and more interestingly, why. This is Hailey Bailey. She's a model and a content creator, and she doesn't know it yet, but she's about to trigger a massive digital revolution against the world's celebrities and herself, all with one video.
Let them eat cake. Can you take the bomb?
But But to understand why what she did here caused so much outrage, we need to go back to the 1800s. I'm not even joking, the Queen of France in 1774 has somehow triggered a massive revolution on TikTok in 2024. Marie Antoinette was actually the last queen before the French Revolution, because at a time where the country was in extreme debt and the people were living in poverty and famine, Marie was seen living a lavish lifestyle and spending huge amounts of money on unnecessary things. For example, she was best known for her extreme looks and love for fashion. Her annual clothing budget alone was equivalent to today's $3.6 million. That's $300K a month. But ironically, what she is most remembered for is the time that she was told that the public were starving and they didn't have enough bread to eat, to which she replied, "Let them eat cake." And I say it's ironic because it's believed that she never actually even said this. Regardless, the public's anger grew and led to a revolution and ultimately her execution. So back to 2024 when Hailey Bailey dressed up as Marie Antoinette and used a trending sound saying "let them eat cake" while outside the Met Gala, where tickets cost more than the average down payment for a house. She quickly became the modern Marie Antoinette and triggered the blockout revolution. Now since then, she has apologized and said she didn't know the implications of that quote before she used it. And while the anger started with just her video, with one of the top comments saying "we're giving you the Marie Antoinette experience," it quickly grew to all of the celebrities that attended that event and beyond. The Hunger Games societal disparity became the movement theme, with hundreds of people commenting "watching from District 12." Creators have started making videos showing off their own daily celebrity block lists, and the people who join the trend say that the movement is simple. Just like how the French people's taxes were funding Antoinette's lavish lifestyle while they starved, today the public's attention is often what funds these celebrities' lifestyles. And so people say if they're using this attention money similar to Antoinette on massive unnecessary displays of wealth, or while people around the world struggle and starve, that attention and therefore money will be removed. And that's how and why the block trend started. So the question is, do you agree with this trend, or are people taking it?
It'll change the way you see the world. Your body is a self-repairing meat machine piloted by an electric brain that runs on food, controlled by a consciousness that has no idea where it came from. The brain doesn't know what it is, but it did give itself a name. Right now, you're the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. Every decision you've ever made was influenced by something you didn't choose. If the universe was infinite, somewhere out there, an exact copy of you is living an entirely different life. Your dreams are just alternate realities your brain creates and deletes every night. There was a moment in your life when you played outside with your friends for the very last time and none of you knew it. Every single moment in history that you've ever read about happened in what someone thought was a normal day. If your parents never met, you wouldn't just not exist. You'd never even have been an option. If you stopped thinking, you wouldn't exist anymore. You are made of atoms that used to be inside of stars. The atoms in your body are billions of years old, and they will outlive you. The voice inside your head has been speaking to you since birth, and it never shuts up. The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, flying around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, yet you feel completely still. And some people also don't believe that's true. At some point in your life, someone unknowingly saw you for the last time. If time travel is possible in the future, where are all the time travelers? There was a time when your parents put you down and never picked you up again. That's I have a 1-year-old dad cry.
The power of time.
Okay.
Here you can see what happens to a penny over the span of 100 years. This is insane. This man played Pac-Man so much that the game got permanently burnt into the screen of his TV. This is New York before and after power washing the buildings, and you can actually see the real color of what the buildings are supposed to look like. This barber has been in business so long that the metal wore down where he walks every day. And this guy had the same wallet for so long that his driver's license photo imprinted on the plastic.
Damn, man. I think the most craziest one, man, when they said that Pac-Man TV, bro. You know how much of a gamer you have to be, man, for the indent to be at an actual TV? I wonder how many hours you put in, man. You had to be like one of the best Pac-Man players ever in the whole world, bro. Had to be. No way you putting that many hours, man. You're not an OG in that.
There's a new movie about a serial killer whose weapon of choice is
sharks. From the producers of Longlegs and the Monkey, Dangerous Animals is a new horror movie starring Jai Courtney as a shark-obsessed serial killer. It's the first ever movie that includes a serial killer who uses sharks as a weapon. The plot sounds so interesting, and I'm excited to see where it goes, especially since it's also by the same director who made The Loved Ones, which is one of my favorite horror movies, so I have a feeling it's gonna be good. Dangerous Animals will be in theaters on June 6th, but before it comes out, let's watch the trailer together.
Okay. Let's check this out. So we hear that, right?
People don't understand the hierarchy of animals in this world. They don't think with their brains. They think with their guts. And what your guts understand is 300 razor-sharp teeth. Tearing flesh from bone.
Dangerous Animals.
Welcome aboard.
Imagine being a delivery driver and then all of a sudden you become a multi-millionaire after picking up a Starbucks order. Michael Garcia was picking up a coffee order at a drive-thru at Starbucks in LA when a hot drink fell on his lap. You can actually see his reaction on surveillance, and he even drives off because he accidentally hits the gas. Michael suffered severe burns, disfigurement, and nerve damage to his genitals. His lawsuit also states that he now has to deal with physical pain, mental anguish, loss of enjoyment of life, humiliation, inconvenience, grief, physical impairment, anxiety, and the list goes on. Now, Starbucks, their policy is that once their employee hands over the drink to the customer, they're now no longer responsible for anything that happens. But in this case, the employee, and you can actually see it in the surveillance video, she did not properly place the drink in the holder, so when she handed it over to Michael, one of the drinks fell while the other drinks did not. And Michael's lawyers were able to prove this in court. Michael, this delivery driver, ended up winning the lawsuit. He won $50 million in damages. Even though that's an insane amount of money, I still think it's justified, and I'll tell you why. Apparently the photos of the damage down there was shown, and it's pretty bad. Starbucks, on the other hand, came out with a statement, and they said that they don't believe that they were at fault, and that the damages awarded to Michael were excessive, and they plan to appeal the verdict.
Nah, man, 50 million, bro. Like, that's hot coffee got spilled on your junk, man. Nah. 50 million ain't enough, bro. To me, man. Hell no, bro. And they trying to freaking appeal that, man. Let that man freaking get his money, man. And try to, like, move on with his life. These things, man, that companies will do, man, just to keep their money. It's truly insane.
Top 3 police officers who actually encountered demons. A retired law enforcement officer named Michael said that he remembers going on a call many years ago for an elderly person needing medical assistance. He said that they arrived at the scene to find an elderly woman sitting in a chair experiencing some difficulty breathing. They assessed her and determined that she needed to be transferred to a hospital. He remembers comforting her and telling her that everything was going to be fine and that she was going to get the care that she needed at the hospital. Then he said that he turned around and he started walking away when all of a sudden this very deep demonic voice came out from deep within her. He said it sent chills up his back and the hairs on his neck stood on end. He said that he turned around and looked at her, and it was not the same old lady that he had been speaking to minutes before. Her face had transformed, and he couldn't make out what it was saying, but he said that just as quickly as it came, it left. He wasn't sure if anyone else there heard what he did. She was then transported to the hospital from there, and Michael said that he didn't speak of this to anyone. He said that years later, though, he encountered one of the other officers from that call, and he came up to him and brought up the incident and
and said that he had witnessed the same thing that Michael did. The other officer said that it freaked him out so bad and that he knew it was demonic.
Another day, another celebrity is arrested in Dubai. Marwan bin Hussein. She's the most popular, the biggest Kuwaiti model. Pretty much one of them.
What could have happened to this Washington, D.C. intern?
Okay.
24-year-old Chandra Levy was from Modesto, California when she left her hometown to pursue an internship in Washington, D.C. It was April of 2001 and she was hoping to launch a career in public service. Chandra was associated with then Congressman Gary Condon and there was speculation that they were having an affair. On May 1st, just the next month, Chandra was reported missing by her parents because they couldn't reach her for a couple of days. When her apartment was searched, it showed recent activity as her computer was open and there was half-packed bags. It was revealed that Chandra had been jogging in Rock Creek Park the day she went missing. The investigation regarding her disappearance quickly escalated once the media was fixated on her connection with Gary. At first, Gary did not want to discuss any kind of relationship that they may have had, but eventually he admitted that they did have an affair, but he denied any involvement in her disappearance. With Gary admitting to an affair, the media went crazy. In May of 2002, Chandra's remains were found in Rock Creek Park. Because her remains were found about a year later, the evidence was limited due to decomposition. In 2010, Ingwar Guandike, an undocumented immigrant, had violently attacked many women in the same park where Chandra's remains were found. Because of this, he was convicted of Chandra's murder. His conviction was based on circumstantial evidence and a fellow inmate who said that he admitted to the crime. However, once the verdict was met with skepticism by many, they felt like they didn't really have any concrete evidence that he actually did this. In 2015, his conviction ended up being overturned. As of today, no one really knows what happened to Chandra or who did this to her. There's many speculation of what could have happened, but no one really knows for sure.
Amazing things that were invented
I think we know.
George Nissen invented the trampoline at age 16. The popsicle was invented by Frank Epperson at age 11 because he left his drink out overnight with a stick in it and it happened to freeze. Joseph Bombardier invented the snowmobile at age 15. Earmuffs were invented by Chester Greenwood at age 15 because he got painfully cold ears one night whilst he was ice skating and thought of the idea. 15-year-old Lewis Brown invented Brown due to an eye injury that left him blind in one eye at age 3.
Man, they all 15. They some young geniuses. What the heck? You would think, man, that it'd be older, man. It goes to show, man. Success does have an age limit, man. Some people hit it earlier. Some people hit it later in life, man. You just never know where you're going to fall. What side of the bracket you're going to fall into, man, on success. That's crazy, man. Those are some young legends. Shout out to them, man.
This Ukrainian model was found on the streets of Dubai with her limbs broken and her spine broken too. Her body was near lifeless, and this was after a hotel party in Dubai. She's had to undergo 3 surgeries so far, and she's undergoing a 4th one soon. She literally cannot speak, according to her mother. She can't move her mouth. The sad thing is, this girl is only 20 years old. She had been missing for about 8 days before her family and friends got suspicious and reported it because she missed her flight going to Thailand. She was attending an event for a modeling business, and the 2 men said, okay, that's fine, she's going to spend the night at the hotel, then we're going to take her out, do the photo shoot, everything like that, to her mother. Now, obviously, those 2 men were lying and up to something sinister. She went missing on March 9th. She was found on March 19th, 10 days later, just bloodied and just everything broken. Now, like I said, she's going to undergo a 4th surgery soon. She is in critical condition right now. She has no documents, no phone, no nothing. They took everything from her, whoever did this. Now they're hoping she recovers soon so she can actually explain what happened in this ordeal and maybe catch some perpetrators. What do you guys think happened to her? What are your opinions on this story?
Man. She was in Dubai, bro. Sound like agency pictures, but that was cap. It was a setup.
Will change the way you see everything. Your birthday isn't when you became you. It's just when you were first seen. There's a last time you picked up a childhood toy and you didn't know that it was the last time. The stars you see at night might not exist anymore, but their light is still traveling to you. The world did not pause before you were born, and it won't after you're gone. Every breath you take contains atoms that have passed through millions of other people. You don't remember being born. You won't remember dying. Your brain edits out most of reality, and you'll never know what you're not seeing. Somewhere in the world right now, someone is experiencing your exact same moment. Your thoughts are just electricity bouncing around inside a brain made of fat and water. There are more dead people than living people, but we live in their world. You never actually touch anything. Your atoms repel each other before making contact. Your pet doesn't know you exist outside of their experiences with you. Every single thing you've ever owned will one day belong to someone else, be thrown away, or be forgotten. There's no such thing as silence. Your ears are just limited in what they can hear. Aliens are more likely to study our ruins than making contact with us, if they haven't already. There are places on Earth that no human has ever seen. A lot of them, actually. A person born today will live long enough to see humans colonize another planet, hopefully. The person who will attend your funeral is alive somewhere right now. The one person. Oh, damn, sucks. The letters you are reading are just symbols your brain was trained to understand. You only experience time in one direction, but it exists all at once.
A 14-year-old
He always be blowing my mind with those
was
facts.
found dismembered in trash bags. Emily Pike was staying at a group home in Mesa, Arizona when she ran away on January 27th. Because the Amber Alert system doesn't include indigenous people, there was no alert out. And the group home said they followed all protocol, but her mom said that she wasn't notified of Emily's disappearance until a week later. On February 14th, her dismembered remains were found in contractor trash bags near a reservation border 100 miles from where she was last seen. Her face and head showed signs of trauma, and her arms and hands were never found. And a weird detail is that an indigenous man was found shot in his car on almost this exact same spot in 2021, and that murder is also unsolved. Her roommate at the group home said that Emily was taking guitar lessons and left to go see a boy that she liked. Meanwhile, her parents say she likely ran away because she wanted to visit them. Emily is unfortunately one of many indigenous people whose lives are ended violently. And indigenous women and girls are murdered at a rate 10 times higher than other ethnicities. And hopefully the media attention and public outcry helps bring leads in the case. But in 2016, the National Crime Information Center reported that there were 5,712 reports of missing indigenous women and girls. But the Federal Missing Persons Database logged only 116 cases. Officials say that there are no suspects in Emily's murder at this time. I'm covering one unsolved case out of each of the 50 states, and this was my case for Arizona.
He took the life of his daughter because he was convinced she wasn't his. 20-year-old Marlon Rabanales and Olivia had a baby girl and lived together on Long Island, New York. Baby girl was born on January 1st of this year, so she was only a couple months old, but they seemed like a happy family. One day, Marlon started to have suspicions that Olivia wasn't being faithful to him and started to think that maybe their daughter wasn't really his. He started to become very frustrated and decided that he was just going to take it all out on baby girl. This resulted in him punching, slapping, and violently shaking baby girl. Because of this, she suffered ribcage injuries and a fractured vertebrae. Marlon then decided to call the police and tell them that baby girl had fallen down, but once they did an autopsy, they knew that there was more to the story and that he was lying. Marlon was arrested and is currently being held without bail, and it was also discovered that he had came into the United States illegally, so he may be in prison longer. Rest in peace to baby girl, she truly did not deserve that. She was only 2 months old. If you made it to the end of my video, let me know what you think down below about the case, and if there's any other cases you would like me to cover.
People are just monsters, man. Your own daughter. The world just has to be better, man. People need to be better.
God damn! I don't know who this guy thinks he is, but Papa's looking so fucking good, man.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely going to miss Papa Emeritus IV, especially in his duck form.
I mean, if you haven't seen all the amazing pictures and stuff that he did for Rolling Stones, I mean, good lord, this stuff is cool. Like, I sincerely need to know who did the costume of Papa Perpetuum, because good lord, is it awesome. I also love that they're calling him the Phantom of Rock, because this is very much giving Phantom of the Opera. Especially when the Phantom's in his Masquerade of the Red Death outfit. By the way, this is the Terror Thread shirt design that you can actually buy, so do it, because it's amazing. But it even seems like we're getting, like, hints of Freddy Krueger with this, too. Which I'm super stoked about, because this whole little casual hat fingernail outfit is fantastic. I'm just excited to see exactly what he brings out to the tour as well. Now, I have not read the entire article and interview in Rolling Stones yet, where Tobias talks about his life, and specifically the tone and feel of what the new album Skeleton is going to be about. Also, if you haven't been consistently listening to the song Satanized in your car with full blaring audio, then you should. You'll probably feel better about life a little bit. Seriously, I am severely pumped for the new album to come out, which I definitely need to get merch for, and I wonder if they're going to make another ducky out of Papa Perpetuum. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
These are 5 of the crazy...
They be right in our faces, man. He's on a Rolling Stone interview like that. I mean, I don't listen to rock music like that, but that song, I don't think I'll be listening to that, man. Especially after hearing that title. That's a no for me. But hey, It'd be right in front of our faces. I learned that watching these clips together with you guys. Just gotta be able to analyze and see.
Ways that people have died in a horror movie, going from the least to the most crazy, in my opinion. Disclaimer: these are all fictional depictions from movies and not real life. Coming in at number 5 is being turned into a human wax sculpture from House of Wax. If you've seen the movie, then you know how crazy the scene was when this guy poked Sam Winchester in the face just a little bit, but because his face was already encased in wax, it just peeled off. Also, the contraption that the villain in this movie uses to turn people into human wax sculptures is literally an inescapable saw trap. But the next movie is equally as disturbing and insane. At number 4 is the reverse axe from When Evil Lurks. Let me know right now your guesses for number 1, and we'll see if you're right at the end of this video. When Evil Lurks had a bunch of really memorable scenes, but this one specifically really got to me. Just felt like it went on for such a long time, and I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. How the wife was so quick to turn the axe on herself and just kept going on her own face. And this scene really doesn't shy away from anything. You see it all happen. Number 3 is from Sinister 2. I do think I recommend Sinister 1 more than Sinister 2. I think just comparatively the first one was better for me, but one of the home movies from Sinister 2 was both disgusting and unforgettable. The rat deaths, which I think is also a medieval execution method. Basically, the family members were tied down in a circle and had this device placed on their stomachs with a live rat inside of it. The device was then heated up so that the rat trapped inside of it would eat its way into the victim's stomach. First time I saw this scene, I was not prepared, and I had nightmares for like a week. You knew this one was coming, and number 2 is getting chopped in half backwards from Bone Tomahawk. This scene actually goes way crazier than that, so let me explain. Not only were his friends forced to watch it all happen, but he was scalped first and then had his scalp stuffed into his mouth before he was turned upside down and divided. This scene is very reminiscent of what happened to Dawn in Terrifier. Speaking of resting in pieces, number 1 goes to getting eaten by cannibals piece by piece in the Green Inferno. This scene is iconically messed up, and I have a feeling a lot of you probably guessed it would be number 1. This is the exact moment that Green Inferno went from 0 to 100, and you won't be able to unsee it. There's definitely a lot of creative and disturbing ways that people have been taken out in horror movies, so if there's anything you thought I missed, let me know and maybe I'll do a part 2. And don't forget to follow for more horror and movie content every single day.
I don't watch horror movies, man, so I have to take our word for it. They did sound really gnarly, though. I just can't do it.
We're going to talk about our experience with Joe Gatto.
Impractical Joker star Joe Gatto has been accused of doing inappropriate things with women again. This time the accusations come from these 2 girls who were teenagers at the time that this happened. So according to them, last year in December of 2024, they purchased tickets to see Joe Gatto and the meet and greet pass. Here's a photo from that meet and greet. One of the girls put it on her story and she started DMing with Joe. Afterwards, Joe allegedly sent the girls $35 for gas and Chipotle on Venmo. Afterwards, the girls attended another show and another meet and greet, and this time they took one of their dads to meet Joe. This time he allegedly invited them backstage, where they allegedly hung out in a small room with him and it got a little uncomfortable. Afterwards, they said that he began texting and messaging them constantly, and then he gave them free tickets and backstage passes to a 3rd show. Here's a photo of them there, and they went backstage with him again. Except this time the girls said that he asked them to kiss multiple times. They claimed that he fed one of them mango with his fingers, and he asked them to pull up their shirts so that he could look at their stomachs, and afterwards he allegedly rubbed their stomachs up and down, making them incredibly uncomfortable. After this experience, he gave them $100. Oh yeah, and I forgot to add, he requested that they wear leggings. Afterwards, he bought them a hotel room close to his, and according to the girls, he began begging them for nudes, allegedly asked them to send him videos of them kissing, and tried as hard as he could to get them to come over. They said that they were creeped out by this behavior and that they felt violated by someone they looked up to. So as you can see, some of these alleged screenshots are pretty creepy. And it should be noted that Joe was using, once again, vanish mode according to these girls, which is what his other accuser claimed he was using when he was DMing her. There definitely seems to be a pattern here. And if these screenshots are real, Joe definitely knew what he was doing. Also, here's a picture from one of the shows that one of the girls took, showing that this was December of 2024. Keep in mind, this was after Joe publicly claimed that he had reconciled with his wife and kids, and gotten back together with them and was trying to rebuild his family. So if this is all true, I definitely think it's very, very creepy and inappropriate. You can have your own opinions about the whole thing, but you can't deny the fact that at the time he was trying to get back with his wife and be a better husband, while at the same time allegedly DMing these girls, asking them for nudes, asking them to come over and kiss him, and only God knows what would have happened if they would have gone over to that hotel room. According to the girls, also allegedly, I forgot to add this in, at one point Joe was allegedly trying to get the girls to come over to his hotel room late at night, and he claimed that his phone charger was across the room, and if they wanted to keep talking, they needed to come over to his hotel room to bring his charger over to him. According to the girls, he also allegedly said that he could sneak them into the hotel around the security and the, crew from his show. Keep in mind, these girls were teenagers at the time. I mean, they most likely still are teenagers since this video was posted recently and this happened just a few months ago. But if all this is true, things aren't exactly looking great for Joe Gatto. And it pains me to say that because...
It's nice to almost think of it as a fun song to sing along to.
That ain't Pepper.
Let's begin with our first song now. Try to repeat after me.
Oh, she's hiding from him.
Let's try that once more. You're doing wonderfully. Repeat after me.
She a goner with them.
1, 2, 3. Great work. You can proudly say, I can count to 3.
You're playing.
A young woman named Olivia Conkle says that some very strange things have been happening at the apartment that she shares with her boyfriend. Doors in the apartment often just open and close all on their own. One night, the couple returns home and sees something truly horrifying that seems to be staring out of their apartment window.
Ghost took residency in their apartment. I'm good, I'm out. You can have it.
The couple looks around their apartment, but there's just nothing there.
We're about to go in. I don't think I've ever been more scared in my life. I don't even have any words.
But the paranormal activity in their home seems to be getting worse every day. One night, Olivia is all alone when this happens.
What the fuck was that?
I am a cursed doll that is on the loose. Hello, my name is Annabelle. In the 1970s, I was given to a nurse in Connecticut named Donna. At first, everything was fine, but after a few days, Donna started to notice some strange activity. I started appearing in different parts of the room without being touched. Then, they would come home to strange childlike notes. Something was off. They contacted a medium, who told them
the spirit of a young and lonely girl named Annabelle Higgins attached to the doll.
Feeling bad, they let me stay. But the occurrences got weirder. Her roommate began to have nightmares of me attacking him, and then woke up with 7 claw-like scratches on his chest. Donna decided to contact a priest, who brought in 2 paranormal investigators that said,
This is no child spirit. It's a demonic entity that's manipulating the doll to get closer to you. She needs to be locked away.
They removed me from the home, and I was locked into a case at the Warren Occult Museum, where I sat for the last 54 years. The Warrens warned that touching me will make you carry home bad luck, but someone did 3 days ago.
Skinwalkers come to that. Man, when they freaking, well, we know they captured Annabelle while she's back in her cage or whatever it was at, but she went on a spree, bro, and like some weird things was happening around her, so guess, man, we gotta take that with a grain of salt. Stay away from the Annabelle doll, man. I don't know how people be making movies on that.
Dados em vídeo.
Bro, the sky is fucking blue! And then it turned off! Nope! Yo!
I got that on camera! I got that on camera! I got that on camera!
Worst thing was, Feds just went that way. You know what? Feds, no lights.
Whoa.
Bitch, what? Hey, what the fuck?
It's like a light switch. On and off.
What the fuck?
Everybody knows something's up. Everybody knows. That is not normal. Everyone is looking up, wondering why the sky is split. Look. The sky is broken. And everybody knows something's fishy, don't you? Fishy, ain't it?
You know, that's the first time I ever seen this.
That's right. It's fishy.
Follow for more.
That was crazy, man. One side of the sky was lit, the other side was dark, and the first clip, man, when it was turned on and off like a light switch, it was pure blue, then it just turned to dark. I don't know what was going on, man. You can't explain that. I don't know if that's like a natural phenomena or something. Not one that I've heard.
It's a man you can slap but can also stroke.
Hey mamá, papá, pare. Hay alguien llorando aquí, venga, no está bien. Venga papi, en serio, papi. Uy, Dios mío, señor. Mire, Dios mío, hay fuego en la cámara. Eso está aquí llorando, no sé como que...
Skinwalker.
Dios mío, Señor, yo sí lo escuchaba. Señor Jesús, papá, papá, ay, Dios mío.
That looked like a skinwalker.
Mom, what's wrong?
What was Woody doing? Okay, stick your tongue out.
On the literal perfect day. Back in 2019, a baby girl was born on July 11th, making the date 7/11. Well, the baby was also born at 7:11 p.m., and the baby also weighed 7 pounds and 11 ounces. From this, the convenience store 7-Eleven saw this and gave the baby $7,111, making this baby the most 7-Eleven baby in history. Next, in 2022, this baby girl was born at one of the craziest times possible because she was born on February 22nd, 2022, which is 2/22/2022. But she was also born at 2:22 a.m. and she weighed 7 pounds and 10 ounces, which makes her a total 122 total ounces. And I can't forget that she was born in room number 2 of the hospital. This is absolutely wild.
We have some crazy
Yeah, that
things
was
going
crazy.
on in the world right now. A bride was late to her own wedding after an officer pulled her over for going 105 in a 45. A bus driver with over 30 years on the job lost his $84,000 pension after he was caught stealing $7. Thanks to appearances in music videos and commercials, technically Taylor Swift's cat Olivia has a higher net worth than her boyfriend Travis Kelce. An Air India crew member downgraded a passenger from first class and then used that seat to sleep. A 19-year-old man was sent to prison for 8 months after making a bomb threat to a cruise that his girlfriend was on because he admitted he was annoyed that he had to take care of her pets. Meteorologists could not use damage to determine the strength of a recent tornado that went through Michigan because the Amish communities that this tornado mostly affected repaired their homes too quickly. After a man saved for 10 years to buy his dream Ferrari, it went up in flames less than an hour after it was delivered.
This is a bittersweet.
Nah, just imagine that, man. You saving up, you stocking up. Everything, every freaking penny, dime, nickel, man, to get that Ferrari, you working class, and for it to end up in flames after you get it, I'm like, man, the universe hates me. I guess that was a sign, man.
Sweet case. On February 1986, 29-year-old Detective Stephanie Lazarus broke into her ex-boyfriend's house and murdered his wife Sherry Rasmussen in a fit of rage and jealousy. Stephanie successfully got away with murder for 23 years due to connections with the Los Angeles Police Department. Despite there being evidence against her, she was barely questioned. The crime was initially deemed to be a robbery gone wrong, but Sherry's family was convinced that Stephanie was involved since she was jealous that Sherry and John were happily married. When John returned home from work that evening, Sherry was found shot multiple times in the chest. Reports show that Stephanie had threatened Sherry at her workplace, stating, "If I can't have John, then nobody else will." In the meantime, Stephanie went on to start her own private investigation firm, and the case went cold. But 23 years later, on February 2009, a cold case detective squad decided to reinvestigate the case, and that's when they discovered that DNA was obtained from a bite mark on Sherry's body. And of course, that bite mark was a perfect match to Stephanie Lazarus. On March 8, 2012, Stephanie was convicted and sentenced to 27 years to life in prison and will be eligible for parole in 2039.
2025 just got even crazier, part 4. Firstly, in Poland, 240 mines were accidentally sent to an IKEA, and apparently the mishap only came to light when the IKEA store called the military to ask when they were going to pick up these mines from their IKEA warehouse. From this, an army general was fired for losing these mines. Next, we all know about this TikTok ban that is happening. Well, it's kind of backfiring, because thousands and thousands of TikTok users are switching to the Chinese app RedNote, and from this, Duolingo has seen a 216% spike in users in the US learning Mandarin. Finally, stealing has got so bad in some areas, some stores are starting to literally lock up everything, like regular items like chips. So now, you literally have to get an employee just to get a chip bag.
That's so sad, man. But I still remember that channel. Remember when people were like licking the ice cream?
These maps are going to change the way you see the world. This is how much income you're gonna need to join the top 1% in every US state. California makes it easy. It's just 1 million solid. Yeah, easy. So it looks like the highest is actually in Connecticut with 1.2 million. That's fascinating, actually. The lowest is in West Virginia. You only need $420,000 a year to be in the top 1%. Yeah, I know I say only, it's a lot of money, but also relatively, it's cool. But yeah, we're all doomed, so it doesn't matter. This is just a map of the Midwest. Yeah, it's definitely in the West and in the middle because it's the Midwest. This was the first transcontinental railroad that was completed in 1869. You now could cross the country within a week instead of multiple months. That was dangerous. Interesting that there was an Oregon Trail and a California Trail. So this map shows that the entire area of Manhattan is smaller than the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. This map divides the world into 4 equal quadrants and shows that the Northeast has almost 3 out of 4 people on Earth. It says 13% in the Northwest, but only 5% of that is in the United States, which is the same as the 5% in the Southwest. 86% of all humans live in the top side of this quadrant.
Let's see if you have trypophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. If you feel too uncomfortable to make it to the 5th photo, then you could have trypophobia. So let's go. Number 1. And how about this?
I'm cool.
Feeling uncomfortable yet? Nearly there. Last one. So let me know whether or not you have trypophobia in the comments down below.
I passed that with flying colors, man.
He performed plastic surgery on himself after murdering his teacher. In 2006, 22-year-old British teacher Lindsay Hawker moved to Tokyo to teach English at Chiba University. A year later, 28-year-old student Tetsuya Ichihashi asked Lindsay if he could receive private lessons from her. Lindsay agreed, and they met at a coffee shop a few days later for their first session. At the end of the session, Tetsuya told Lindsay he forgot his money at home and asked her to go back to his place to pick it up and pay her. So that's exactly what they did, and unfortunately, Lindsay never made it out of Tetsuya's apartment. Lindsay was reported missing the next day, so police went to Tetsuya's apartment and saw him escape by foot. When police entered Tetsuya's balcony, they found Lindsay's deceased body in a bath full of sand. Tetsuya then went into hiding for 2.5 years, and he went to extreme measures to avoid authorities, such as physically changing his appearance himself. This included cutting off the moles from his face with a knife, trimming his lips to make them thinner, and reshaping his nose. All these changes allowed Tetsuya to be undetected for years, but his attempt to alter his appearance even more led to his arrest when a cosmetic doctor became suspicious about his scars and reported him to police. At Tetsuya's trial, he confessed to everything and was sentenced to life in prison.
This is the scary story about the park. There was a girl named Anna who was walking around a park one day when she saw a man carrying a woman, and he also had a kid right next to him. Anna thought it was odd that a man was carrying a full-grown woman around the park, so she went up to him and asked if everything was okay. The man said that it was his wife, and that she was sick and tired, but she was fine. Anna then said, "I hope she feels better," and then walked away. Anna then sat down on a bench nearby, and a couple minutes later, the man's child came running over to her and said, "Mommy's dead. Daddy killed Mommy. He's been carrying her dead body around the park all day." Anna sat there in shock as the man came over and got his kid, with his dead wife still slung over his shoulders.
Okay, that's weird. Call the cops then, man. The kid letting you
And the
know.
bodies of 9-year-old Peyton Decker, 8-year-old Evelyn Decker, and 5-year-old Olivia Decker were found deceased near Washington campground after they were reported missing by their mom. The girls left home for a planned visitation with their father on May 30th. Their bodies were found on June 2nd. Their cause of death has been ruled a suffocation. The manner of death has been ruled a homicide. Their father, 32-year-old Travis Decker, is a primary suspect, and he is currently on the run as we speak. On Friday, May 30th, the girl's mother called for help around 9:45 p.m. She said her girls were at their planned visit with their father, but he failed to return the girls on time, and she got worried and she needed help. The case is ongoing. There's a manhunt currently out for Travis Decker, the father. I'm not a lawyer. No one has been arrested yet. All this information is information that I found on the internet, and if I get anything wrong, please comment in the comments and we can figure it out together. Also, please keep in mind, please, this is a real case. People are mourning the deaths of these poor girls and they're hurt, so if you don't have anything nice to say, do not say anything at all. We know from the mother.
Breaking news, when Brian Kohberger was arrested, he asked one of the arresting officers if he wanted to go get coffee at another time. In these documents, Ann Taylor is trying to prove that Brian Kohberger does not have the ability to understand the magnitude of what he did. As an example of that, she states the following. She said, by way of example, when he was arrested at home with a full SWAT team, doors broken, and parents were zip-tied, he made small talk with the detective in the back of the police car on the ride to the police station. He asked the officer about his education and suggested that they get coffee at a later date. She said he did not perceive the profound seriousness of what was going on, and he did not have perception of what was happening. She said they now have experts to analyze his issues. In addition, here is an up-close image of the drawing that Dylan provided of the mask she saw Brian Kohberger wearing the night she ran into him in the home. Furthermore, the April 9th hearing has been changed. You will no longer be able to locate
This is the most terrifying space photo ever. This is a real photo of astronaut Bruce McCandless. He is floating around 100 meters away from the space shuttle, and he's not wearing any tether connection or harness, meaning he could easily float away into the abyss of space. But why did he do such a dangerous thing? Well, in 1984, he was testing a space jetpack. So he stepped out of the Challenger space shuttle, and using the jetpack, flew away from the shuttle, flying alone into the dark abyss of space. Bruce was later asked about his experience. He said, "The thing that disturbed me most was, as I floated away from the shuttle, I felt extremely cold." He also said the silence of being alone was very scary. In this photo, he literally is the loneliest person in the universe.
That's different, man. Space jetpack, like I said, one wrong mistake, you floating out in space. The deep, dark abyss of space for the rest of your life. You have to be a brave person, man, to take on that job. I don't know if I can know. I know I can do that. That ain't me.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. God.
Okay, so that's just a puppet, but you know it's not? Meet the Tibetan fox, the fox nature designed strictly from memory. The Lord makes no mistakes, but sometimes he uses his left hand. That's how you get a fox straight out of Courage the Cowardly Dog. We're not entirely sure why it looks like amateur taxidermy, but some say it's a character development that comes with living on the very roof of the world. Apparently that's the peak physique when your address is up to 5,000 meters or 16,000 feet up in the air. The highest point in the US, not in Alaska, is just under 15,000. The result is an AI generated pika predator. Pika basically being the popcorn chicken of rabbits. And the main thing on this Timu Fox's grocery list. Sometimes this uncanny valley Volpes goes on a two-man with bears, where the bears dig the prey up and the funny-in-the-face fox runs them down. All while having the expression of immigrant parents to a firstborn, terminally disappointed and remarkably unimpressed. I still love you, Mom. Except when they're about to murk a marmot. That's enough to make him hit the Heisman. And despite the free-handed by Faith Fox proving that 5-year-old me can draw, they actually look pretty normal as pups. And the way you see them might change when you see how little they are next to us. Because when you live in God's snowed-in Tibetan attic with the windows open, it's best to be small. In fact, the best theory is that protection from the constant wind is why they look like that. Something about preserving moisture in the eyes. But it also means you can get side-eyed looking dead in this fur emoji's face, the more you know.
I don't know if I can visit Mexico.
Yeah.
Why? Bro, they have the scariest urban legends.
For real?
Yeah, they got La La Chuza, which is a shape-shifting witch that looks like an owl and is 7 feet tall with the face of a woman. And you're not supposed to go outside if you hear whistling in your window.
What else?
Oh, and La Llorona. She usually stays near bodies of water. She wears a white gown, long hair, and she's always crying for her children that she actually drowned. So you're next if you see her while driving on the side of the road.
Oh my God.
There's like this abandoned Disney park in Veracruz, Mexico.
What about it?
It has a statue that moves at night. There was 2 people exploring the abandoned park and caught it on video. Fam, you gotta check this out.
No, aguanta. Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, deja que mi cámara enfoque bien. Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, güey, eso no es el velador. No digas perras mamadas, no digas mamadas. Güey, es que era el vestido también así, güey. ¿Verdad? Amarillo.
And it's static, frozen. I'm good on Mexico.
But they do have beautiful women.
You right, we might have to risk it.
This 14-foot tiger shark would vomit up something that would terrify visitors and force shocked aquarium owners to call the police. Bert Hobson was in trouble. As the owner of the Coogee Aquarium in Sydney, his business was struggling. His prayers were answered when he caught a monster 14-foot tiger shark weighing over a ton. Hopefully this would draw in the crowds. One sunny morning, the aquarium packed with visitors, the shark began to writhe and convulse. Eventually it vomited a rat, then a bird, then finally a whole human arm, complete with tattoos. Police attended and took fingerprints from the dismembered arm. The database matched them to a missing person, Jimmy Smith. Police interviewed one of Jimmy's friends. He cracked and revealed the full gruesome story of exactly what happened. Jimmy was involved in an insurance scam. He became greedy and tried to blackmail one of the other gang members before he went missing. The rest of his body was never found.
So they just fed it to the tiger shark?
Tonight's premiere starts at 9. We're giving away a free gift bag on YouTube. I'm sorry for the delay. It's about an hour late, but this video is one you don't want to miss. We're hunting the spirit of one of the most notorious criminals in American history, cult leader Jim Jones. Yes, we actually spent the night at his childhood church investigating this property
and it's rumored to be a location haunted by demonic entities. The energy that we captured on camera inside of the building, the evidence, is astounding stuff. It's some of the clearest, most definitive, most disturbing paranormal activity that I've ever caught on camera. But the video premiere starts tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, so I will see all of you guys there. Make sure you leave a comment, like the video, and if you want to be entered to win the gift bag this week, comment Jim Jones on the video and like the video. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in a few hours, and yeah, this is not one you want to miss.
Should I check that out, man? The Paranormal Files, he be hunting at paranormal activity, so
one of my biggest fears is finding something like this on my camera roll. The photo actually comes from Kelsey Surt back in 2013. She was a 17-year-old at the time, and she was browsing her camera roll when she found something that she didn't recognize, and that was this photo. It was a picture that she didn't take, but she could tell from the background that this was taken in her room. Police would review the info card on this photo where they see that it was taken at 1:39 p.m. That didn't make sense because Kelsey knew that for this date and this time she had her phone on her at school, which meant that whoever did take this photo of themselves, they also had the foresight to go in and change the date and the time that it was taken to throw off the investigation. Police also go in to try to brighten up the photo, right, to digitally enhance it, but even with this version, they cannot successfully identify who this is. Are they wearing a mask? Is that a person? But whoever took the photo and why just remains an unknown.
Scariest urban legend from each state, part 4. Robert the doll from Florida. A young boy named Eugene was gifted this doll as a birthday present. Eugene had Robert sleep next to him every single night, until a random night where Eugene woke up and saw Robert sitting across the room from him. After that night, things changed. They noticed every night that they heard footsteps in the attic, and something running up and down the stairs. He was inhabited by some demonic spirit, even having the neighbors say that they saw Robert looking through the window of the attic every single night. Robert is currently in an extremely safe spirit box in the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. It's stated if you make eye
was kidnapped and sacrificed by a cult that believed human sacrifice would protect their drug smuggling business. This is Mark Kilroy. He was a 21-year-old UT Austin student. Him and many other classmates were vacationing in South Padre. They found him and 14 other remains of other people. This cult was absolutely sick in the head. He was sodomized and tortured before they murdered him. He was then killed with a machete blow to the head. His brain was taken out and then boiled in a pot. After police discovered the remains, they arrested 4 cult members and hunted down the leader. The leader literally informed everyone that human sacrifice would protect their drug smuggling business, like I said, and it granted them immunity from law enforcement. I'm not sure where he got that from. When police had Costanzo cornered, he ordered a follower to shoot him. Like I said, most of the cult members were arrested, only 2 escaped and are still at large today. The media immediately labeled these people as Satanists. Although they didn't practice Satanism, it was something else. They also engaged in cannibalism with their victims. It was insane. Imagine being on spring break, getting kidnapped, tortured, and sacrificed by a cult and having your brain boiled in a pot. Not that you would be conscious or alive to know what's going on, but that is one of the most horrific ways to go out. What are your opinions on the story? Let me know.
Truly is, man. It shows, man, when people get that type of manipulation, they'll believe anything. You really told them they had immunity
His
from the
attacker
police.
used his head as a soccer ball. 15-year-old Michael Moss lived in Liverpool, had a happy childhood, and had an interest in mechanics. His mother stated that he wasn't very academic, but he could take a bike apart and put it back together, and he really loved motorbikes. When Michael was only 11 years old, his father passed away and his whole world was turned upside down. He was deeply affected by his father's death, and quickly at school, his behavior became disruptive and he was excluded. Because of that, Michael started attending a pupil referral unit that helped children with special educational needs before he was sent to a children's home to give his mother a break. It was there in 1999 when Michael would meet his future killers, his bullies, Alan, Mark, and Graham. Michael tried to keep a distance from these boys, but when he started dating Alan's ex-girlfriend, things would take a turn. Alan was not happy about this, and he would do anything to get revenge. Those 3 boys got together, drank alcohol, and watched Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs and got a plan into action. At 1 in the morning, Michael got a phone call from those 3 boys that they had a motorbike and they wanted him to look at it, and since he had a love for motorbikes, he was not going to say no, so unfortunately, he fatally took the bait. Michael had left the children's home where he was staying at and arrived at Moss Lane Park, and this is when he was ambushed. The 3 boys laid Michael on the floor and they each took turns kicking his head like a soccer ball. Michael's injuries were so severe that he was just unrecognizable. Michael did pass away from his injuries, and once his mother found out what had happened to him, she was heartbroken. As the investigation started, there was already evidence against the 3 boys, and Graham had actually turned himself in after he had told his mother what he had did as well as the other boys. July 26 of 2000, the three boys were found guilty. Alan and Mark were sentenced to 10 years in prison, while Graham was sentenced to 9 years.
If you hate clowns, this movie is really gonna get you. I just got out of seeing Clown in a Cornfield, and man, this movie was so much fun. Now, I've also read the book written by Adam Cesar, and I'm here to tell you it is an excellent and faithful adaptation of the novel. Quinn has just moved to Kettle Springs, and it's very obvious from the beginning something is not right. With an already growing major divide between the adults and the youths of the town Kettle Springs, you'd think that'd be bad enough, but now there is a clown in a cornfield. And y'all really don't want to fuck with Friendo. This was such a fun slasher movie, which was perfect because the book felt exactly the same tonal-wise. And it harkens back to the good old slashers of the 80s and 90s. And a major reason for that is Friendo himself. This clown is iconic, he's awesome looking, and terrifying as hell. And the best part is, it's palatably scary for most audiences going to see it. Take your friends and family and just have a good time watching a killer clown run through a cornfield hacking up the teenagers. It's got its own unique twists and turns, and I absolutely love Frendo's just fit and vibe. Also, I need one of these Jack in the Boxes, or Friendo in a Boxes. I need it. Clown in a Cornfield opens this weekend in theaters, and please do not miss this excellent slasher that is fun for frickin' everybody.
This disturbing image may not look real, but it very much is. This is a picture of Rhoda Derry, and I'm going to tell you her sad and tragic story. Rhoda Derry was born on October 10, 1834 in Adams County, Illinois. She lived a pretty normal life in a well-to-do farming family. Like any other teenage girl, when she was 16, she fell in love and began a romantic relationship with a boy who happened to live on the farm next door. The boy's parents weren't fond of their relationship, and it really went south when they found out their plans to marry a couple years later. They believed that Rhoda may be involved in witchcraft, a tale that dated back to her grandmother, Mary Derry of Pennsylvania. The story surrounding her grandmother frightened Rhoda, and matters were only made worse when the boy's mother came to her and told her to stay away, and if not, she would curse her. This is when things went south for Rhoda. She had a severe mental breakdown and eventually grew to believe that an evil spirit called Old Scratch was haunting her. She was hospitalized, but was deemed incurable, so she was returned back home to her parents. Her parents tried to care for her, but it became too much, so she was sent to Adams County Almshouse when she was 25 years old on September 3, 1860. The almshouse was known for treating patients inhumanely, and for 4 decades Rhoda was subjected to horrific conditions. A report from the General Assembly in 1881 indicated that Rhoda spent most of her time naked inside of a wooden box filled with straw. Her excrement filled the box, and mice built nests around her. Rhoda sat in the box in a crouched position with her knees up to her chin. Because she sat in this position for so long, she eventually lost movement in her legs. She was constantly moving as well, so she had bruises all over her body. She even punched her face and knocked out her teeth, as well as gouged out her eyes. To make matters even worse, Rhoda could not speak. In 1904, she was sent to Bartonville Asylum. She was bathed daily and slept in a bed for the first time in decades. On October 9, 1906, the day before her 72nd birthday, she passed away. Rest in peace, Rhoda Derry.
And a haunting, it really messed with her.
This new UK ban is gonna ruin a lot of kids' lives. Sorry guys, if you're still in school or your kids are still in school, then I feel bad for you. Probably know there's been the whole talk about social media bans and stuff for years. Of course, Australia started implementing it last year. More recently, there's been a lot of these petitions popping up in the UK saying social media should be banned under 16, and it's got a lot of signatures. Now it's being called for a bit more officially though, with the government looking into it, police chiefs, and well, here's the latest. Looks like very soon there are going to be time limits and bans coming into place, so yeah kids, I'm sorry. First of all, kids who are under 16, they're not going to be banning it completely, but there are going to be time limits. So you're only going to be allowed to use 2 hours on social media every single day. And after 10 PM at night, you won't be able to go on any of it whatsoever. As people have been saying, this raises a lot of concerns because, well, some kids use things like WhatsApp to communicate with family and that, which counts as social media. Of course, there's also a lot of people who think this is a very good thing and kids need to have less time on their phone and social media. I'm also not sure how they're going to get around certain things though to make this fully official, because everybody would just use a VPN or pretend they're a different age. But let me know your thoughts if this is a good or a bad thing, and as always, I'll keep you updated.
What do you guys think on that one, Seekers? Good thing we're going to be limited the kids' social media time? Or you think that's an invasion of privacy? They're going a step too far? Gotta protect the kids out here though, so they're just doing anything they can.
Disturbing discovery tonight where investigators say a remote cave contains what may be the largest collection of crime scene evidence in state history.
Illinois' darkest secret just crawled out of the shadows. A cave packed with over 3,000 blood-soaked shoes, apparently spanning 300 years of disappearances.
We're seeing blood patterns consistent with violent trauma. The preservation conditions in the cave have kept some samples remarkably intact.
And the nightmare's just beginning. What began as a hiker's social media post has become a massive forensic investigation. On June 12th, a local college student exploring off-trail discovered the cave containing footwear ranging from 18th century moccasins to modern athletic shoes, nearly all with traces of blood.
The amount of shoes inside that cave is still unknown, but what I find most strange is why haven't we found these bloody shoes until now?
Forensic analysis has already matched DNA from several shoes to missing persons cases. The oldest confirmed match dates to 1792, a frontiersman who disappeared while surveying the area.
This isn't just a crime scene, Tide. It's a timeline of disappearances stretching from pioneer days to the digital age. The consistency is what's truly terrifying.
Hollow Vale Cave has become more than just a crime scene. It's a time capsule of tragedy, holding secrets from America's frontier past to the digital age. For investigators, the work is just beginning. For families of the missing, this discovery could mean answers centuries in the making. As hashtag Bloody Shoes continues to trend, let us know what you think in the comments below.
This is a true horrifying story.
Scary
Part
story.
82. This story took place in Cardiff, the capital of Wales. The story happened to a Muslim brother. It happened this month. And I urge everyone watching this to keep this brother in your prayers and your du'as. He also requested that we don't use his real name. So I'll give him a false name for the sake of this story and call him Ahmed. Ahmed is 20 years old. He is a second-year college student and he works part-time as a delivery driver. He had an order to deliver in an area called Pentrabane. It's an old village with nothing on the way there, just bushes and trees right and left. Now, Ahmed has bladder issues. Ever since he was young, every time he needed to use the toilet, he wasn't able to hold it for too long. On his way to Pentrabane, he had to use the toilet urgently, and there was nothing on the way there, so he stopped his vehicle, went inside the bushes, and peed on one of the bushes. After he was done, he hopped back on his vehicle and proceeded towards the delivery point. On that same night, Ahmed went to bed, and while he was sleeping, he was awakened by a feeling of someone suffocating him. He was paralyzed, but his eyes were wide open. He saw a dark, slender-like figure that wrapped his hands around Ahmed's neck. He would get attacked every single night by this demon. He would also dream of the same demon haunting his little siblings. This demon was very upset with Ahmed. Some of you may not know why this is happening. Jinns come in various forms, powers, types, and sizes. Some live in caves, some in the ocean, and some in bushes. When you sabotage their homes, they will do everything they can to hurt you. When you burn a bush, or spill hot water on a bush, or even pee in a bush, they will try to kill you. I will leave this to our brother, Mu'min Abu Mecca, to teach you what you must do to prevent being stuck in a situation like this.
So don't pee on bushes. Noted, okay.
This is why you should be careful what you put in the mail. In 2015, a man was asked by his neighbor to collect his mail while he was gone for a few weeks. A few days later, a large package arrives on his neighbor's front porch. The man can barely lift it, but gets over to his garage where he accidentally drops it and hears something break inside. Hoping his neighbor would think the damage occurred en route, he closes his squeaky garage door and forgets about it. But over the next couple of days, whatever was in that package started to smell so bad that he decides to open it up. Inside were two very important finds: his neighbor, who was dead, and a camera that was still recording. The police bring the man in for questioning and show him what was on the camera inside the box. It starts with his neighbor talking to the camera about how excited he is to mail himself home for his YouTube channel. Then, police fast forward to the very end where they see that the neighbor is now sleeping in the box, and then suddenly gets dropped and you hear a crack, and that's his neck breaking. And then you hear a squeaky garage door close.
I remember that challenge when it was like going rampant through the internet, man. I saw the big YouTubers, Rice Scum, a couple of others, man, doing that challenge. Goes to show you, man, those challenges and those YouTube views, they worth your life, man. Some of those, you know, went to the extremes back in the day, man, for those YouTube challenges. That's actually insane. Man.
Send this video to someone that is absolutely terrified of clowns. A young boy named Nathan was walking alone to meet up with some friends at a nearby carnival. When he arrived, they rode roller coasters and eventually made their way to a circus tent with live performers. They went inside and saw a group of clowns performing. They were dancing, juggling, and one of them was riding a unicycle. The boys got closer to the stage, and the one riding the unicycle slipped and fell, and his red nose landed right beside Nathan, who picked it up, put it in his pocket, figuring the clown had plenty more. After the show was over, Nathan was walking back home when suddenly he heard a slight chuckle. He turned around and shined his flashlight. He could make out a shadowy figure holding a sharp object in his hand. The figure said in a creepy, sinister voice, "I believe you have something of mine." Nathan slowly backed away, pleading, "No, I don't. Please leave me alone." The figure stepped into the light. It was the clown from the carnival. He said, "Well, if you're not going to give me my nose, I'm gonna need yours."
Got mess with clowns, figures?
Secret Films Part 53, Hostel. This one's about college students who are traveling through Europe. They party in Amsterdam and have plans to head to Barcelona next. But then they meet a man named Alexei who convinces them to head to Slovakia next. They have their fun the first night, but then one goes missing. And they quickly realize that the hostel they're staying in is more like a torture chamber. This one is pretty gory. And it's particularly scary to me because I've stayed in a lot of hostels. I'm just glad I didn't end up in one like this. It's available to watch for free on Peacock, so let me know what you guys think.
You guys gonna go check that movie out?
Remember, your Amazon Alexa is always listening. In 2018, a girl named Alexa came home to her apartment to find her creepy stalker landlord in her kitchen. She screams and threatens to call the cops, and he just smiles and says, "I was just checking in on you," and leaves. Feeling totally sketched out, she spends the next few hours down the hall in her friend's apartment before finally going back to her room to go to bed. That night, she woke up to her Amazon Alexa responding to someone in the room. It said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Did you say I'm watching you?" The girl instantly turns on her lights and looks around, but no one's there. So she unplugs Alexa and is about to go back to sleep when she hears what sounds like a man grunting in her closet. As she's staring at her closet, her Alexa turns back on.
What the hell? That was just a movie situation, but we saw some of those weird cases, you know, going on with Alexa, man. You asking her some creepy questions to try to get a response back. And it definitely did, man. It's like some sound, man. Some technology or something trying to take over. We cannot let that happen, bro. Gotta disable your Alexa and Siri's, man. They alerted too much info. How's that screaming? That an edit or something? How the hell was she locked up?
This game is apparently very dangerous. People theorize that it's what Elisa Lam was doing in my previous video. Basically, you get into the elevator alone and go to level 4. Stay in the elevator and go to the 2nd floor. Stay again and go to the 6th floor. Then the 2nd, then the 10th, then the 5th. When you get to the 5th floor, a woman will enter the elevator, but don't look at her, don't talk to her, she's not what she seems. Press the button to the 1st floor. If the elevator takes you to the 1st floor, you must leave without looking back. The game's over. Or it will take you to the 10th floor where you can leave or you can stay. If you leave, you'll be in the other world. All the lights will be off, you'll be alone, and you'll see a red cross in the distance. When you choose to return, you must travel back in the same elevator you came in, which can be confusing because the other world is very disorienting. You may faint or pass out and wake back up in your home, but be careful to make sure it's really your home. There are some crazy stories of people's experiences with this game on Reddit. Do you guys think it's real?
I never play those type of games, man, when they pop up across the videos we watch to get the secrets. I'm not risking that bad energy and nothing even happening, so I leave it to those who do that, and we just try to recap their experiences, but I'm never going to play any of those games. No, not for me. Tell me down below, would you guys even attempt to try it? Wear your souls if you do. Edit, you gotta call it out like how you see it.
I pray to my God every day. Every day. On my knees every day. You see me when I pray my God, I don't play. I don't play, on my knees.
Did you guys see that? I'm not the only one, man. If y'all watched the circuit, there was definitely someone who popped in and it like popped out right, like really quickly. And they had no idea. Gotta be aware of our surroundings. I don't know who the hell that was.
This is
Edit.
a horror film. This is in my house.
What? The shots of the movie was on the house. What the hell? Dream Man? What the hell is his story? We want to find some facts about that. Damn, that one even ended. We couldn't even learn nothing. What the? Ooh. What the hell? It's like a demon that just came out the damn TV. This is some creepy fact. Okay, somebody. It's definitely a little like an edit. Did he realize just try to walk into the house? Afterwards, oh yeah, he was definitely like freaking following that girl, bro. She just closed the door all oblivious, man. That's what I be saying. You never know who's watching you, bro. They really be trying to run up in your own house. I don't get people, bro. No place is sacred.
Here are some of the worst things ever found on the dark web, part 1. This is why you should never send nudes. This is the story of Pink Meth. Despite the name, the website Pink Meth had nothing to do with drugs. Pink Meth was a market mainly for men where they would sell nude photos of their exes for a hefty amount of money. But that's not all. Pink Meth would then post these photos alongside the woman's names, home addresses, phone numbers, and any other information the operators could dig up. Then a ransom on the content was delivered to the victim. They would tell all the females, pay up to have the photo removed or let the whole of the dark web have access to your personal information, including your nude photos. So never, ever send nudes. Pretty cool.
He was spitting, bro. I'm not that type of person. I was just like, no, I just don't even do that because too many things go through my mind. I'm like, nope. Somebody could try to get access to that. They could try to use it in the future to like use against you. Nah, that ain't gonna happen to me. So I'm not even on that type of time. No. You just gave a creepy ass story while you shouldn't. Because all your information gonna be out there, bro. On the dark web, but that too, they have your location and everything. Nah, that ain't for me, man. Seekers, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true ones seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit that post notification bell as well, so you always get notified when I drop. I do daily uploads, so hopefully you guys appreciate that, man. We're grinding, we're gonna continue to keep growing and get better with each and every single video. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.